Like when we're sitting here now talking and seeing each other through Zoom, if I all of a sudden decided, oh, I need some positive thinking, and I started going like, I'm a really good coach and I'm a good father and I'm this and that, and I got really into it, you guys could turn off your cameras and I wouldn't even notice. Right? I wouldn't even know you were there anymore. So a lot of people always think that, oh, the problem I have is negative thinking, and the opposite of that is positive thinking, so that's what I should be doing. When it's actually the amount of thinking that I take seriously that is the real problem.
And the discovery that when you stop thinking, you still exist and you actually still care about things you want to do, because otherwise, it's perfectly normal. If I think that I'm not, because I had a call at 9 a.m. this morning, and I woke up, I had the call. I had a little bit of, anxiety, slightly. I could feel it. I knew it was self-induced, but still. But yeah, I'm thinking back now, and there was no way I would forget about that call. And I did care about that call, and the care I had for it had nothing to do with the anxiety. Like you totally remove anxiety, you totally remove thinking, and you still are drawn to be there on time and to show up and do whatever you want.
For example, we're not completely exclusively in our thinking. There's more to us. There is this capacity of rising to the occasion. There's this capacity of finding love, of performing, whatever it is. And that, to me, is because the idea of change your thinking, change your life is kind of pretty much the go-to of all self-improvement, right? The idea. Yeah. So the risk of just saying, look, you think bad things, you feel bad, you think good things, you feel good, is that, as we were saying, people will hear it as like, yeah, I know that, so I'm going to try to think things, right? The game changes that, dude, you are not your thoughts.
Yeah.
And when you see that, you realize that rather than trying to have good thoughts, which is sort of artificially trying to feel good, there is a real well-being, a real perspective, a real capacity in the moment that comes up.
What about putting well-being on the table and realize that, people who feel good, who are just in a good place, will not be complacent, because it's in human nature to look at everything and say, I think I can do this better. I think I can make a better fire. I think I can paint it in another color. I think I can take that computer system and tweak it a little bit. That's what you do when you're in a good place. It's when you're in a bad place that you go, I don't have the energy. I don't want to do it. I don't think it can be done.
Yeah.
But all leadership courses treat humans like it's the other way around. Like you cannot feel content. And no wonder Rolling Stones are writing music saying, I can't get no satisfaction. If you think that satisfaction is the enemy, why would you go there, right? But once you start seeing that satisfaction and being content is actually the precursor to all creativity, to all productivity, and that's where you go back to the childlike curiosity of wanting to see what you can do, then it's not so scary. But best athletes in the world are really scary about feeling good because they think that will keep them from pushing forward.
Yeah. Obviously, if the only reason why you're doing something is to seek an internal state of well-being, of safety, of worthiness, whatever, and you realize that, no, here, you can have it right now,
Yeah.
Possibly, people say, oh, you know what, dude, wow, I didn't know that. Well, why would I do that?
Yeah.
But they will, in that space, as you're saying, this natural creativity, aliveness will come up, and they will find what they actually want.
Yeah.
And they will do it to express themselves rather than to seek
Yeah.
Something out there. So I think there's a cool thing about how much do you trust your simple desire of doing what you're doing. Because you know what, like if you know you love the game,
Yeah.
man, if you get rid of all that seeking, it will just be easier to express yourself in the game.
There was a philosopher who once said that the most terrible tragedy is to have a great life and not realize it until it's over.
Yeah.
And I think what we're offering here is that when you take away the pretense of all the thought systems we all put on there because we want to ensure a good life, instead of realizing we're born into a good life. If it weren't for all the stuff we kind of get in our head that needs to be fixed for us to have that good life. And then we would look out and say, I want to work doing that, but not because I think I'd be happy when I do that, but because when I already know I'm happy, that is what looks interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different way of coming about the same thing. And we need everybody to do that.
This possibility of remembering, like, you know, actually I do love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just forgot it was an option.
Yeah. Because I'm supposed to be serious and professional. And you can't just play to play, because now I'm getting paid to play, so therefore I have to be serious. And that's a curse for a lot of people, you know. It's,
I would say most people. I think most people, it's they're at war with their life. They might be in the life they want. They probably ended up doing something that they're drawn to, but they don't realize it. And that is, you know, when we talk about change the world, I think it's not about, you know, you don't really see the change externally, but people seeing, what the fuck, I love to be in this relationship. I actually love my wife. It's not that terrible. This already, it's life changing totally.
Not a single person that's ever lived, not a single person that actually lives now, and not a single person that will ever live has ever done like mean things consciously when they feel good. Nobody's walking down the street going, "This is great, this is my life, I'm so happy, asshole." That's not happening, right? So the problem here is not the way you are going about willpower and things. It's the fact that you don't see that nobody has bad habits when they're feeling well.
Because we do have that capacity. We have an intelligence, a deeper with who we really are, we could say, that comes up if we leave space to it. And if you know, like, oh, that's me. It's not even something I have to find, you know, like that's just who I am. Then for me, it's really more than having or not having a lot in my mind. It's truly paying or not paying that much attention to it.
Yeah.
You realize, like, oh, that there's nothing in it. Like, there's nothing valuable. It's so much more interesting to listen to that, to myself, not to my thoughts.
But most people treat themselves like a shed that needs to be made into a mansion, and they miss that they are the whole universe.
And what you also said one of the other times when we spoke, where I think it's super important, is that really you were never gone.
Yeah.
That's also, you know, it's not even like, oh, I was gone, now I'm back. It's like, no, you've always been here. Now you, for 10 minutes, you might not have been aware of it.
Yeah.
How cool to know you actually never left, my friend. I can kind of guarantee, if we look at the tape of the game, you were there.
You were there. Yeah.
And that also is cool.
Yeah, it's really nice once you see that you don't go away and come back. You're always, from the time that you're born until the time we leave this earth, we're always in the zone. And then we convince ourselves at certain times during the day that we're not. And then it feels like we left it. And some people do it so often it almost feels normal, but it's not natural.
Yeah. And then there was Brooks that was struggling. And then they were talking about when he actually had those 3 years where he was like, you know, top of the world. And
he was the best player in the world, yeah.
And he was saying like, oh, you know, it's funny because he just didn't make the cut. I don't know in which tournament.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, it's crazy, yeah, because like, it's funny to think that when I arrived, I was just like humbled to be, you know, on the tour. And like, all I wanted to do was like try to, you know, make some cuts, you know?
Yeah.
And I ended up dominating. But now, of course, you know, now I got a taste of it. Now, you know, I can't show up like that. Now I show up because I need to win and I want to win. And I suck. But as he was speaking it, the connection wasn't obvious.
No.
You know, it's as you were saying, it's completely invisible unless someone truly like, hey, hang on a second. What do you make of that?
Yeah.
Because you could see, in a way, you could see it. It was so funny. Like, yeah, it's funny because like, when kind of at the beginning I showed up and I just did my best. I won everything. And now I'm showing up, putting all this pressure and coming out with all these shoots about like, you know, where it should be and then I have to win because, you know, this is serious. And I'm sucking.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that we shy away because we're thinking that if little old me could see this so obviously, then it, of course, everybody already knows, so I won't even mention it. And that's how we stay away from our own greatness, I would say, because it's where it's simple that we have our greatest value to others, because that's where we are connected to something. We see something without the complexity, and that's where the value is.
It was fun. Do you think there is value for anyone who would like, you know, to listen to this conversation? To, you know, if we put it out, do you think?
Yeah.
Not the entire conversation, maybe bits of it, but I think this is fun for us, first of all.
Yeah.
And yeah, fun for others. They might see something that it's obvious for us, and something becomes more visible, something that is invisible. I don't know. This could be it, you know.
Yeah, I as we talked about before, it's where the value really is, where you can show people that you have more than you think you have, and the way there is easier than you think. Right? And that's actually the way I would phrase it. It's easier than you think, right? Because you think too much.
For business. Yes.
Oh, it's on. You already have that on the thing.
It's called our business is called the Easier Project.
Yeah. I saw the Easier Project. Yeah, so it's easier than you think, for sure.